From the ashes of empire and the crucible of conflict rises a nation that few in the mid-20th century could have predicted. South Korea, a land divided by war, shaped by authoritarian rule, and forged in economic urgency, has become one of the most dynamic societies on Earth. In this documentary, we journey from 1945 to the late 1980s, a period of survival, struggle, and transformation, and then into 2025 to 2026, exploring South Korea as a global cultural powerhouse, technological leader, and deeply complex modern state. This is a story of endurance and reinvention. On August 15, 1945, the end of World War II brought liberation to Korea after 35 years of Japanese colonial rule. Yet freedom came with an acute geopolitical reality. The peninsula was divided. The 38th parallel, drawn with little regard for population or history, became the boundary between Soviet-backed forces in the north and U.S.-aligned authorities in the south. The Republic of Korea was proclaimed in 1948 in the south, while the Democratic People's Republic took shape in the north. These early years set the stage for one of the most devastating conflicts of the Cold War, the Korean War. On June 25, 1950, North Korean forces crossed the 38th parallel, plunging the peninsula into war. With vast human cost and wide-ranging destruction, the conflict drew in global powers. United Nations forces, led by the United States, countered the invasion. Chinese troops intervened, and by 1953 an armistice was signed. No formal peace treaty was ever concluded. The war left the peninsula scarred, millions dead or displaced, and the nation irreversibly divided. Emerging from war, South Korea was one of the poorest countries in the world. Its agricultural base was weak, infrastructure shattered, and national income per capita among the lowest globally. In this vacuum of stability, authoritarian governance took hold. Syngman Rhee, Korea's first president, held power through strict anti-communist policies and political repression. In 1961, amid widespread dissatisfaction and political turbulence, a military coup brought General Park Geun-hye to power. Park's regime, which lasted until his assassination in 1979, centered on state control and rapid industrial growth. Civil liberties were constrained, opposition suppressed, and dissent was often met with severe consequences. Park initiated long-range economic planning and embraced a philosophy of order and development. The period saw a heavy hand in politics and culture, but it also laid the foundation for transformation. The 1960s marked a turning point. Through a series of 5-year plans, South Korea embarked on one of the most remarkable economic transformations of the 20th century. The government directed investment into strategic sectors, textiles, shipbuilding, steel, and eventually electronics, and encouraged export-oriented growth. This model was demanding and often harsh. Workers labored long hours, and rural populations migrated en masse to cities seeking opportunity. Yet with strong educational emphasis and support from allied nations, especially the United States, South Korea's economy grew rapidly. By the late 1970s and 1980s, the country was no longer impoverished, it was industrializing at pace. Large family-controlled conglomerates, later known as chaebols, such as Samsung, Hyundai, and LG emerged as central players, driving both domestic employment and international exports. This era forged not just infrastructure and factories, but an ethic of perseverance under pressure. While industrialization reshaped the economy, it also transformed everyday life. Education became both a national priority and a cultural imperative. Families invested heavily in schooling and private tutoring, believing that academic success was the key to social mobility. At the same time, popular culture navigated the tensions between tradition and modernization. Television, cinema, and literature began to reflect the complexities of rapid change, from rural life confronting urban realities to youth cultures seeking identity amid strict social norms. Public music and media were not immune to political control. During periods of heightened censorship, Artistic expression was often channeled into state-sanctioned themes, including patriotic songs and narratives that reinforced national unity. Throughout this period, South Korea maintained a close security alliance with the United States. American troops remained stationed on Korean soil, and military cooperation was central to deterrence against the North. Politically and economically, U.S. support, including aid and investment, was a stabilizing force in moments of crisis. Relations with Japan, burdened by the legacy of colonial occupation, were tense but transactional, especially in trade and diplomatic negotiations. The broader regional context, shaped by the Cold War and the rise of China, underscored South Korea's strategic position at the intersection of global power dynamics. By the late 1980s, a crescendo of social pressure, international engagement, and political awakening catalyzed another turning point. In June 1987, mass nationwide protests demanded democratic reform. The resulting transition ushered in direct presidential elections and a new chapter in South Korea's political life. The end of overt military rule marked the beginning of democratic consolidation. Today, South Korea is celebrated as a vibrant democracy. Elections are competitive, media-free, and civil society active. Leadership changes reflect a dynamic political landscape, with debates ranging from economic direction to social reform. Under the administration of President Lee Jae-myung, elected in 2025, South Korea has expressed a vision of super-innovation economy, emphasizing technological advancement and balanced global diplomacy. This includes economic incentives and a strategic pivot toward artificial intelligence investment to confront slowing growth and demographic challenges. Yet political life is not without tension. Debates about education, the role of conservative versus progressive values, and ideological influences in schools reflect a society still negotiating its identity in a globalized era. In the 21st century, South Korea ranked consistently among the world's top economies. Its strength in semiconductors, automotive manufacturing, shipbuilding, electronics, and financial services underpins its position on the global stage. Exports remain central to prosperity, despite recent economic headwinds in late 2025 as trade pressures and weak investment slowed growth. Chaeble's Hyundai, Samsung, SK, and others continue to shape both domestic economic texture and international brand presence. Investment in future technologies, including AI and renewable energy, aims to sustain competitiveness and diversify beyond traditional industries. Financial markets and innovation ecosystems reflect South Korea's shifting priorities, with growing attention on capital markets, startup culture, and global partnerships, even as economic inequality and regional disparities endure. No discussion of modern South Korea is complete without acknowledging its cultural export phenomenon, the Korean Wave, or Hallyu. From music to television dramas, South Korean culture resonates worldwide. Groups like BTS and Blackpink have not merely topped charts, they have redefined global musical influence. Their success catalyzed the international spread of K-pop and Korean entertainment, resulting in cultural engagement far beyond national borders. K-dramas, from historical epics to contemporary narratives, capture global audiences through streaming platforms, presenting stories that blend emotional depth with visual craftsmanship. Technology and creativity intersect as digital platforms and social media amplify Korean content. Virtual concerts, fan interaction technologies, and global fan communities have created cultural ecosystems that are more participatory than ever. South Korea's urban landscapes, most notably Seoul, exemplify modern infrastructural achievement. High-speed rail connects cities with precision. Skyscrapers, bridges, and smart districts symbolize economic ambition. Public transportation systems are models of efficiency, and cities integrate technology with daily life. Yet alongside modernity lies the challenge of urban density. Real estate costs in Seoul and other major cities remain high, prompting questions about housing affordability. Regional development, and quality of life. Culture and lifestyle reflect a blend of tradition and futurism. Historical palaces and temples coexist with leading tech campuses and artistic districts. Culinary traditions, from street foods to Michelin-starred restaurants, remain vibrant parts of life. Education continues to be a central axis of Korean life. Students encounter intense competition, long hours, and high expectations, a legacy of belief in educational attainment as a path to success. This has produced a highly skilled workforce, but also concerns about mental health and social pressure. Work culture, too, is demanding. Long hours and rigorous corporate expectations are characteristic of many industries. Recent policy discussions have focused on work-life balance and broader societal well-being. Youth culture is marked by both innovation and frustration. Young people are creative, globally connected, and socially engaged. Yet they face economic pressures, job market competition, and debates about social justice that test long-standing norms. Despite its successes, modern South Korea confronts serious challenges. The nation has one of the lowest fertility rates in the world. Population aging strains social services and labor markets. Entire cities, such as Bisan, have experienced population decline as young people concentrate in metropolitan centers or seek opportunities abroad. Relations with North Korea remain fraught. The division of the peninsula persists as a political and security reality, with periodic tension and intermittent diplomatic engagement shaping strategic decisions. Social inequality and gender divides also influence public discourse. South Korea grapples with disparities in income, corporate opportunity, and gender roles, matters that animate political debate and social movements alike. South Korea's story is not one of simple triumph or unblemished success. It is a tapestry woven from resilience and contradiction, from the ruins of war to the heights of technological innovation, from authoritarian control to democratic plurality, from local traditions to global cultural reach. In the span of just 8 decades, South Korea evolved from a war-torn, impoverished state into a leading economy and cultural force whose influence touches continents. Yet its future will be shaped not just by economic output or global recognition, but by how it navigates demographic shifts, social expectations, and the enduring aspiration for a more equitable and humane society. This is the story of a nation, then and now, poised between memory and possibility, ever in motion, ever becoming.